Good evening and welcome to the special presentations of the City Council of the City of Moreno Valley. Today is August 20th, 2019. The first presentation is a recognition of the Independence Day Parade Art Contest winners. Councilmember Thornton will speak and recognize the groups.
Good evening, everyone. As part of the 2019 July 4th celebration, the City of Moreno Valley, along with the Moreno Valley Unified School District, conducted for the first time an art contest for students to share their creative art skills based on the question, what does the 4th of July mean to me? The art was evaluated on creativity, use of materials, and presentation. Tonight, we would like to congratulate our 4th of July art contest winners. Will the art contest winners please join me up to the stage as I call your name? Jasleen Estrada from Ridgecrest Elementary School, 2nd grade. Eileen Sicarios Lopez from Ridgecrest Elementary School, 4th grade. Chloe Tennis from my alma mater, Palm Middle School, 8th grade. Our Moreno Valley Unified School District 2nd place contest winners are Matthew Lee from Coverdale Elementary School, 1st grade. Sarissa Ortiz from Box Springs Elementary School, 4th grade. I'm sorry, I got distracted. He was cute. Our Moreno Valley Unified School District 3rd place contest winners are Israel Sanchez from Northridge Elementary School, 2nd grade. And Kira Asidio from Ramona Elementary School, 4th grade. Awesome. Thank you so much. Congratulations on your beautiful artwork, and we'll go ahead and take a picture.
Also, if we could have the superintendent and also some members of the school board as well that are present. We have school board member Jesus Holguin, Superintendent Kedziora, school board member Daryl Peden, CJ Johnson, and Marcia Locke.
Big smiles on everybody. We're gonna do a couple. All right, looks good. There.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Let's give our contest winners another round of applause. Thank you. The second presentation is recognition of the Independence Day Parade Award winners. Councilmember Cabrera will speak and recognize the groups.
Good evening. Today we are recognizing this year's city's 4th of July parade. We actually had 120 entries, which broke a record. That was the most we've ever had. And all of our judges selected only 15 out of those 120 entries, and that's who we'll be recognizing tonight. And so on behalf of the mayor and the city council, we would like to present each of the parade winners with a trophy. And will all the parade winners please come up to the stage and join me? You know who you are. You can go ahead and start walking up. And I will go ahead and go down the list as well. First, we have Sweepstakes, Moreno Valley Historical Society. Just make your way up here. We all fit. Second, we have the Knights of Columbus. Third, we have Boy Scout Troop 210 and Pack 210. Fourth, we have the I Make Mobile Innovation Center. Fifth, we have the Aurora Monroe School Dance Team. I'm hoping we have enough space up here. I know we can all fit. We can all fit up here. We have a couple steps back here. You can make your way. We also have the March Field Air Museum for the outstanding vehicle entry. The American Legion Post 574 for the outstanding craftsmanship entry. The Patriot Guard Riders for the outstanding non-commercial entry. The Pacific Crest Band for outstanding musical unit. Okay, we're all fitting. We also have Sandals Church, Moreno Valley for the outstanding musical unit. We have the West Side Steppers Drill Team and Drum Squad for the outstanding musical unit of youth or corps. The MVUSD All District Marching Band for the outstanding marching drill unit 17 years or younger. Cardio Fit and Studio for the marching and drill unit 18 years and older. Trail Seekers of Moreno Valley for the outstanding equestrian group entry. And last but not least, Orgullo Mexicano Folclórico for the outstanding cultural entry. Can we give them all a round of applause, please? So we did fit. So you can tell we're all family up here, and we do just want to say thank you as well to everyone for being a part of the 4th of July celebration, and we hope that you will continue every single year to help us grow the parade as well. So we look forward to seeing you next year as well. So now let's go ahead and take a picture here.
All right, can I get very tall people on the third step? People not as tall in the middle one. Shorter folks on the floor, and then the smaller kids will do in the very front. Yeah, because we're not going to go to see all of you. Don't have to get pretty far back. So I can get two folks coming this way. Yeah. So I can get some of you guys to kind of thin out this way. little bit closer, just a little bit tighter, a little bit tighter. There we go. Yeah, just about everybody. Big smile, remember. One more just for save. All right, there we go. Everyone else can have that. I kept telling her because we always go out to eat sometimes and we meet up all the time. And your brother. Yeah, awesome. It is dope. Good. Hey, that's going to. I know, right?
Let's give all the award winners another round of applause. I must say that the 4th of July is one of my favorite holidays. It's just beautiful. It's our parade is Halloween in July. The final presentation, the recognition of the Independence Day and Fun Fest sponsors. Our sponsors are Skechers, First Industrial Realty Trust, Inc., and Waste Management. And we all know that we couldn't do this without our sponsors and their support for our festivities that we present for the whole community to come out to this wonderful, wonderful family event. So that concludes our special presentations. The regular council meeting will begin in about 10 minutes. Thank you.
Good evening and welcome to the City Council, the joint meeting of the City Council of the City of Moreno Valley Community Services District, City as Successor Agency for the Community Redevelopment Agency of the City of Moreno Valley Housing Authority, Moreno Valley Public Financing Authority, and the Board of Library Trustees. The City Council receives a separate stipend for CSD meetings. I now call this regular City Council meeting to order on August 20th, 2019 at 6 p.m. The Pledge of Allegiance will be led by, we'll have Rafael Brugueras. Please remain standing for the invocation, which will be given by Father Joseph from St. Christopher Catholic Parish.
Put your right hand over your heart. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, for liberty and justice for all.
In the name of the Father, and of the Son, and of the Holy Spirit. Amen. Dear wise and loving Father, first let me say thank you on behalf of all who are gathered here today. Thank you for your many and abundant blessings. Thank you for life itself, for the measure of health we need to fulfill our calling, for substance and for friendship. Thank you for the ability to involved in useful work and for the honor of bearing appropriate responsibilities. Thanks as well as for the freedom to embrace you. Thank you for loving us even so from your boundless and gracious nature. God of justice and mercy, thank you for the gift of life and the opportunity to serve the people of our city. Help us to act with character and devotion, conviction. Help us to listen with understanding and goodwill. Help us to speak with charity and restraint. Give us a spirit of service. Remind us that we are stewards of your authority. Guide us to be the leaders your people need. Help us see the humanity and dignity of those who disagree with us, and to treat all persons, no matter how weak or poor, with the reverence your creation deserve. And finally, Father, renew us with the strength of your presence and the joy of helping to build a community worthy of the human person. We ask this as your sons and daughters, confident in your goodness and love. Amen.
Thank you, Father. Madam Clerk, roll call, please.
Yes, sir. Councilmember Thornton,
Present.
Councilmember Marquez,
Here.
Councilmember Cabrera,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Baca,
Here.
Mayor Gutierrez.
Here. Staff introductions, please.
Pat Jaquez-Nares, City Clerk.
Regina Flores, Senior Deputy City Clerk.
Marshall Ironman, Chief Financial Officer, City Treasurer.
Martin Kazanowicz, City Attorney.
Tom DeSantis, City Manager.
Shel Patterson, Economic Development Manager.
Rick Sanzamar, Community Development Director.
Dave Lilliver, Acting Commander.
Abdul Ahmed, Chief.
Kathleen Sanchez, Human Resources Director.
Patty Solano, Parks and Community Services Director.
Michael Wolf, Director of Public Works, City Engineer.
All right, thank you. Just a friendly reminder, the city is currently offering Spanish translation services, so if anyone that is interested in this feature, the devices can be checked out in the back of the room. At this time, I'm going to move F2, item F2, to discuss, if it's fine with the rest of the council. F2, which is appeal of the Planning Commission action approving a commercial cannabis dispensary. We'll just take this item first, and we'll have a report from Community Development. Okay, so Rick Sansemeyer.
Good evening, Mayor. Happy to introduce Jeff Zwack to make a brief presentation on the appeal. We'll be prepared to answer any questions the council may have afterwards.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Mayor, members of the City Council, the request is to hold a public hearing to consider an appeal of a Planning Commission approval of a conditional use permit, which the number is Pen 180262, allowing a cannabis dispensary at 12125 Day Street in Building L. This is in the Canyon Springs Shopping Center in the northwest part of the city. As far as background, on June 27th, the Planning Commission approved the conditional use permit for California Green World, which allowed a 5,100 square foot cannabis dispensary to be located within that shopping center. On July 12th, an appeal was filed by the legal representative of the Canyon Springs Investment Trust. And in their letter, the appeal packet is attached to your staff report. They identified 3 points that the council should consider to consider overturning the Planning Commission's approval of the conditional use permit. The first point, the appellate states that a cannabis dispensary is subject to the shopping center's CC&Rs, which are covenants, conditions, and restrictions. The city's response is CC&Rs are actually a private agreement. The city is not party to CC&Rs, nor does the city enforce any of the content of the CC&Rs themselves. The second point, the appellate states that a cannabis dispensary will result in disturbances, attractive nuisances, and annoyances to both business owners and their customers. And the appellate states that the reason for this is for a period of approximately 1 year, there was an illegal cannabis dispensary in a former nightclub. The nightclub has since been evicted, but during that approximate 1 year time, because it was an illegal use, there were no restrictions on what happened, and it created a great deal of problems in the shopping center. The appellate's making the point that this legal cannabis dispensary will create similar problems. The response that you read in your staff report is This approval, the approval of a cannabis dispensary, requires a multi-step process. And in the case of California Green World, what they've done is they received their vetting, which is a very strict review of their credentials and the ability to operate this business. They were approved. Then they were allowed to move to the next step and have consideration by the Planning Commission of their conditional use permit, which they also received, and that was on June 27th. What's different is if it's an illegal dispensary, they do not follow local laws, nor do they follow state laws. The Planning Commission's approval consisted of or included a resolution with no less than 60 conditions of approval. Now, the most important point of why a legal cannabis dispensary is by far and above different than an illegal dispensary is if the applicant, the person that's running this business, chooses not to comply with the conditions of approval, then the conditional use permit can be reconsidered by the Planning Commission and potentially, in a worst case scenario, revocation of the CUP can proceed. So it's in the best interest of the property owner to follow the city's ordinances, the laws, policies, so that this does not happen. Finally, the third point, the appellate states that there is a municipal code requirement that requires a distance separation of property lines between an arcade and the property on which the dispensary is located. The minimum separation is 600 feet. What the appellate's referring to is the hangar indoor trampoline park, which is in the center. But that business, the city's position is this is not the case. There is no 600-foot separation because the indoor trampoline park is an entertainment venue. The principal use of it is our indoor trampolines. It's a wonderful facility for families and individuals. The portion which has the video games is very small. It is described in the city's ordinance as an accessory use. Just as when they sell food items and beverages, that also is an accessory use, and the principal use is the trampoline park. So it would not require a 600-foot separation between property lines between the hangar, the trampoline park, and the cannabis dispensary. So therefore, Mayor, the appellate has not presented any facts that indicate the CUP unanimously approved by the Planning Commission did not consider all of the city ordinances, and staff would recommend denial of this appeal. So I would be happy to answer any questions that you have. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it. Okay, just a friendly reminder for council, if you have any questions, just press your speaker button to speak and to ask any questions. And we're going to keep these to questions. So we'll start with Councilmember Cabrera.
Thank you, Mayor. Quick question regarding the 600-foot comment. Although it doesn't fall within the guidelines of an arcade and being 600 feet away from that, how far is this dispensary away in feet from the hangar facility?
The municipal code actually requires the dimension to be measured from the property lines, and the property lines are adjacent. So the issue is you have, I can show this, in this exhibit, you have the location identified of the 5,100 square foot dispensary, and up to the top center, that very large building, almost on the very northerly building, 150, 200,000 square feet, that is the location of the indoor trampoline park, if that's clear. What's important to note is the distance requirement would be if that business would be an arcade. So the business license that the owner of this business filled out and submitted to the city before they received their business license stated that they are in their indoor trampoline park, and under the city's classification that would be an entertainment use. So it is not an arcade, and that would not, the arcade is an accessory use and would not trigger this 600-foot requirement. So I guess to answer your question, it could be, I don't know, maybe 1,000 feet from building to building.
Thank you.
Okay. All right. Councilmember, Mayor Pro Tem Baca.
Okay. This message is, or this question, I guess, is for our city attorney, if you don't mind me speaking out of term.
That's fine. Go ahead.
Thank you.
Mayor Pro Tem.
First of all, I don't understand why we're hearing this case, why it's before the city council. Number one, it seems to me that it's a dispute between the business association and the owner of the dispensary, number one. Number two is I don't want to set a precedent by having cases come before the council, whether it's a homeowners association or a business association. For example, Sunnymead Ranch. When I moved to Moreno Valley, that's the first place I lived, and there were rules. I couldn't paint my house a certain way. My grass had to be clean. My trash cans couldn't be visible, et cetera, et cetera. And if I violated anything, the homeowners association took action. They fined me, put the fines on your property taxes, and could even make it a civil matter if they want it. So I think that this is a matter between the business association and the property owner. So, like I said, I don't want to set a precedent where we are hearing these cases. So my question to you, Attorney Kaksanowicz, is why is this before us as a city council?
Thank you very much. Honorable Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, and council members. The process for an appeal is provided in our municipal code. So any party that is aggrieved for right reasons or wrong reasons with any decision of the Planning Commission has the ability, the right to file an appeal and bring the matter before you. That does not necessarily make their case either right or wrong. It's simply a process that we're obligated to provide under state law in order to exhaust the administrative remedies. As far as the city being involved in private disputes, you're absolutely correct. This is not the venue, and as you know, I've said this many times from this seat, the private disputes between private parties are between private parties, and the city is not the arbiter of that. Having said that, they do have the right under our code to be here before you to simply ask you to hear this appeal.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Councilmember Marquez?
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. My first question is this. You had indicated here on the staff report that you had 3 main points. How many points were there to this appeal?
The appeal package was attached to the council staff report. It was the first item, and in essence, there are 3 points, 3 major points.
But that's all there was, 3? There wasn't any other points?
In the letter itself, if you, the letter itself goes into greater depth in explaining the reasons that they're concerned. For example, the CC&Rs, they're concerned that the proposed CUP will be similar to the illegal use, and they went into detail explaining that.
Okay. The other question I have is, this company or the applicant had their license, I guess, had their license revoked at one time? Do you know anything about that?
That's a question. I'm not aware of that, but the applicant is present tonight.
On Sundays, do they have churches, groups on Sundays in this compound, do you know?
When I drove the site, I was seeing a couple of churches and a mosque in this center. So as far as when the services are, I couldn't tell you for sure when those occur.
Isn't it that it's got to be 600 feet from a church?
The city's municipal code dealing with cannabis and establishing a 600-foot separation does not include a church. So a church by itself, on its own, there is no distance requirement from property lines similar to an arcade or a licensed school grades kindergarten or 1 through 12.
Has the city get any response from the Trampoline Park Center on this issue that you know of?
I personally have not talked to them. We did meet with some of their staff when we toured the facility. So I'm not sure if anyone from the trampoline park has contacted anyone else in the department.
I'll answer that. We are not aware of anybody contacting us. No.
I got one more question. You said the applicant is here this evening?
Correct. Oh, okay. But we're going to state as staff questions for right now.
That's,
Okay.
I'll save that for him then.
Councilmember, if I may just make two quick responses. One, you asked if this operator had their provisional permit revoked. The answer to that question is no. And when you were asking questions about related uses, adjacent uses, just want to remind the council that the buffers in our ordinance conform fully to state law. Same parameters. Thank you.
That's all I have.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we're going to proceed with the hearing. I'm going to go ahead and open the hearing. Okay, we'll go ahead. Thank you, sir. We'll go ahead and have the applicant testimony. I'll go ahead and provide the applicant, if he could please come to the podium. And we'll give you 5 minutes to let us know why you think that this should be your way.
Hello, I'm Michael Pora. I'm the owner of the proposed dispensary.
Oh wait,
is that
no the applicant? The applicant is, you're not the applicant.
Okay.
The applicant. Sorry, the applicant. That's what I was. No, the applicant
Is the appellant.
is the opposer. So that's my question: is where is the opposer? Okay, there he is. Okay.
Good evening, Ms.
Good evening.
Mayor and ladies and gentlemen. First, I'm going to take the 3 points directly. The first point was the CC&Rs. Now, the CC&Rs are actually a public document. It's on file with the County Recorder's Office. And in this instance, the CC&Rs are very important. And one clarification I need to make is I represent Canyon Springs Investment Trust. Canyon Springs Investment Trust doesn't have any reservation about cannabis sales in the city of Moreno Valley per se. It's this particular property is not appropriate for a number of reasons. Number one, the property itself is not wholly owned or self-contained by the marijuana dispensary. It's actually part of a community in which my client owns 75% of the shopping center. My client has the responsibility to take care of the entire common areas, including the parking spaces that are immediately in front of the proposed marijuana dispensary. Now, also, the CC&Rs provide my client, this is not a homeowner or another adjacent business, my client has the right pursuant to the CC&Rs to disapprove of any business that it finds to be an annoyance and not in harmony with the particular shopping center. Which brings us to the second point, disturbances to business owners. We've lost already 2 clients because of a marijuana dispensary. Now, much was made by counsel for Moreno Valley about illegal versus legal use. It's not our concern about the proprietor of the dispensary complying with the law. It's our concern about the consumers of the cannabis product, those who are purchasing the cannabis products. Whether it's an illegal dispensary or a legal dispensary, let's not be Pollyannas here. It's the same consumers. And don't ask me about the disturbances. I worked with Patty Posey, the code compliance officer. She could tell you what goes on in the parking lot that my client has the responsibility to take care of, not the proposed marijuana dispensary operator. We had increased vandalism, vagrancy, alcohol use, and consumption of marijuana. Again, let's not be Pollyannas. We know what goes on. Consumer buys their product. They're going to inspect their product immediately. Where are they going to inspect it? Right there in the parking lot. And these are young people. Many are going to take the opportunity to consume the product where? Well, the most convenient available place, elsewhere within the shopping center, where my client has the obligation to monitor, provide security, make sure there's no vandalism, etc. This would not take place if the property was appropriate, self-contained, wholly owned by the proprietor of the marijuana dispensary on a single self-contained lot where their own security people can take care of what's going on their own premises in their own parking lot. But this is not where this proposed location is. This is a shopping center, for goodness sakes. Churches, mosque. The one city councilman brings up the situation of the hangar trampoline park. What difference does it make other than being strictly statutorily to the T of the statute about if it's within 600 feet and you have an arcade or not an arcade? The intent of the statute is to keep these dispensaries more than 600 feet away from children. And who's going to be at a hangar park on a trampoline? Children. It's a little disingenuous to argue that, well, it may not be an arcade and therefore we're within the strictures of the statute. We're here to protect the integrity of the city and its operations. This is a shopping center. It has mosques, churches. It has there's a dance place right there across from that parking lot. Little girls dancing, little boys dancing. This simply is not the type of location for this type of business. And let's not be mistaken here. This is marijuana, okay? It's not the same pot that people were smoking in the 70s, and it's not like alcohol, where you have a gradual high based upon the number of drinks that you have. Come on. One could take a shot of 161 proof Bacardi, and you're not high. One hit of the pot that's sold today, you're high.
Okay, thank you, sir. We'll go ahead and start with council questions of applicant. Okay, so if there's any council questions, we can ask. I do have a question. When the council was looking at approving the land use and as far as looking at approving community commercial and neighboring commercial and those kinds of things, did you come to the city council meeting to make a public comment, or did your client?
I was here during the planning commission when they were talking about the CUP. So we did, myself and the actual property manager was here as well, Mr. Well, he's no longer Frank Paredes.
Okay, and the only reason I asked that is because I do remember when we had this study session. I mean, it took almost a year and a half for the council to really figure out where we were going to approve the land use, of this. And I do recall, at the study sessions, not many people showed up, and then also at the council meeting, there weren't many folks that showed up and said, hey, not right here, because I personally think that that's probably was the best time to say something then.
If I may, of course.
Sorry, sir.
I'm sorry.
This is just council questions.
I'm sorry.
All right. Any other council questions?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. Thank you. Okay, Councilor Marquez.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Oh, no, to you.
Got a question here. In here it states parking spaces. Do you own the property, the parking spaces to that facility?
Here's how it works, if I may.
Yes, go ahead.
The property itself is subject to the Sterling Davis Common Interest Development Act. It's within Civil Code Section 4100 at sequence.
Mm-hmm.
So you have a number of parcels within the entire shopping center. The majority interest owner, the one who owns the majority of the individual parcels, is my client, who owns approximately 75%. The applicant owns 5% of the property in there, and the parcel owner, who has majority interest pursuant to the CC&Rs, has the duty to maintain the common area, provide security, clean up, take care of vandalism, so on and so forth. And they have to do that as a matter of law. So the actual common area is jointly owned by all of the parcel owners. To answer your question directly, 75% would be my client's apportioned interest, 5% would be the apportioned interest of the proposed marijuana dispensary.
Okay.
But the responsibility of maintaining it falls 100% on my client.
Your client. Okay, thank you.
All right. Seeing no more council questions of applicant, we're going to go ahead and start the public testimony. All right, thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
And then you'll have a chance after the public comments to do a rebuttal, if you'd like. Okay.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go ahead and start with public speakers. Okay, how many public speakers do we have, Madam Clerk, for this item? Okay, we
Four.
will. Huh?
4.
Okay, we'll do 2 minutes each. Please call the first 3.
It would be Corey Moore, Harold Accord, and Lindsay Robinson.
Good evening, Mayor and Council, City staff. My name's Corey Moore. I'm an educator here in Moreno Valley, and I have been this is my 32nd year. And I'm not opposed to this business opening, but I'm opposed to where it wants to open. It's in a place that is frequented by children, and it's a major concern to me as an educator in this city, and I would hope that it would be to other educators and people that deal with education or advocate for our children in education in this city. You have that trampoline park, which, as the applicant said, it may be more than the 600 feet, but a lot of kids go in there. In our offices, the Moreno Valley Educator Association offices, we hold events that include teachers but also include children, and that's directly across the parking lot from this business. This is an inappropriate type business to be located near places where children frequent. There is, and I realize it's a little more than 600 feet, but you have Box Springs Elementary almost right across the street from that shopping plaza, which has if I remember correctly, 600 to 700 children that go there every day. And this is just an inappropriate place to be locating a business where so many kids are going to be in that area and can be influenced in some fashion by that business. And so I think the consideration should be to ask the business to relocate to a different area that, as I look at other dispensaries in other cities, Palm Springs, they are self-contained. They have their own parking lot. They're in an area that doesn't have other businesses, and I think that would be much more appropriate to a business like this than to be in an area that has kids and other people churches and stuff located that are frequenting it so much. So thank you.
Thank you, sir. Next speaker, we have Harold Accord, followed by Lindsay Robinson.
Good evening, Council. My name is Harold Accord, and I am currently serving as the president of the Moreno Valley Educators Association. I am in my 33rd year as an educator here in Moreno Valley as a Spanish teacher. And our association's executive board voted unanimously to oppose the presence of the marijuana dispensary so close to our offices, but also close to the buildings that's right behind us that are approved as schools, the last that we knew. Right within, and our place where we're at right now was formerly a school right across the parking lot. We see children from Box Springs every day that come right to the area very close to where you're considering having this entity, to the barbershop, to the two hair places that would be immediately next door to this. And I see children there every day. And I'm an educator who has the care of children at my best interests. And I want to be clear about that. And I've seen that with my own eyes. That's a concern for us because we want our children to be safe. We want them to be able to come into the community when they're done with school, go and enjoy the things that are within the shopping center. We chose to be in that shopping center for a long time, for a 10-year lease, because we feel that we need to be in, of, and part of this community. And we strongly feel that this is a bad decision. I also felt like the letter that I sent to the Planning Commission was completely ignored. I never received acknowledgement of it. I happened to have been in Michigan visiting my family at that time. And I don't understand why there was never an acknowledgement of the letter that I sent, letting everyone know about our opposition. So on behalf of the 1,700 members of the Moreno Valley Educators Association, I want to say that we do oppose this, we're concerned, and we want our children to be safe. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker, please.
Lindsay Robinson, followed by Daniel Reed and Romel Dunbar.
Hi, good evening. I'm taking a different turn on this. Well, first off, I got all the applications from city through the public request, and the applicant did not include churches as being in this area, and they are. But my issue is that this is still federally illegal. It's a controlled substance. And having the city demand that some shopping center break federal law just really troubles me. The Supremacy Clause of the United States Constitution establishes that state laws are subordinate to federal law. The preemption doctrine states that any federal law, even if it is only a regulation from a federal agency, supersedes any conflicting state law. It also, state constitutions are also subordinate. So when state and federal laws clash, the federal law is the trump card. You want to force this man to violate federal law, and that is scary and is wrong, and I'm asking you not to do that. And just on the aside, the Federal Bureau of Investigation is now actively seeking tips on public corruption related to the marijuana industry. Thank you.
Thank you.
Daniel Reed, Romel Dunbar, and Michael Porra.
Okay, well,
That's, I just wanted to clarify that. So the next.
Romel.
After
Dunbar.
Daniel?
Romel Dunbar.
okay. And then the other one?
Michael Porra.
Okay.
Hello, how you doing? My name's
Hi.
Romel Dunbar. I have a business in that complex, boxing and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. I've been there for about 15 years. I got about 300 kids there that run in that complex. So one of our things that they do is they run around the complex is about a mile or so. And I'm very concerned about having that inside of our facility when I have all those kids running our complex that they might be witness to that or what's going on in the complex. So one reason why I came there, because the complex was a good complex. And I want to continue. I've been there 15 years. I've been in the business about 35 years. I had a school in Riverside in 1990. This one's been here since 2006. I'm very concerned about that being in the complex. 80% of the school is minority, Black and Spanish. We have enough problems in the schools and what's on the street, worrying about what we're trying to do with our kids in that complex where we're going to have that kind of stuff being sold in the same complex that I'm in. I got a 3-year lease left, and if that's in there, then I'm moving, bottom line. That's something I probably would break my lease to get out. We struggle so hard with, our tutoring programs, mentoring, and that's one of the biggest things that are in the schools and on the street, is that's where it starts. And I would appreciate it that you turn that down and don't have it in complex. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next speaker, Michael Porra.
Hi. Once again, I'm Michael Porra, and I'm representing Cali Green World. I'm the owner of the dispensary. And I thought I'd come up here and just speak a little bit as to the dispensary that we're going to be, putting there, the high security, and the following of every state and all the local laws in regards to the dispensary. All the product that will be sold in a sealed package, and all of the signage in the store states that they're not to open that package until they get home because they're not supposed to consume it in any public areas. I'm just here in case you have any questions that you'd like to ask. I'm here to answer any of your questions.
Thank you.
Questions?
No, we don't do, this
Don't
is
do questions.
public comments.
Okay, I do.
Yeah.
You know what? Actually, I do want to mention one more thing.
So this is the time to say what
Sorry,
you need to say.
I will mention one more thing. We did purchase the building, knowing that it's in the correct zone for this permit. And when we did purchase the building, we did look at the CCNRs. At the time that we purchased the building, there was nothing in the CCNRs that said anything about no cannabis allowed, no cannabis businesses allowed. After we closed it, without being invited to the HOA meeting, that was something that was changed after the fact of us buying the building. Once again, the attorney that was up here before me, he mentioned that one person owns 75% of those buildings. That means one person made that decision on behalf of everybody. And we do own the parking lot around our business. We don't own 5% of the total parking lot. Our land shows that we own the parking lot that's around our business. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you so much. I will allow a rebuttal. Okay, and it'll be a 2-minute rebuttal, sir, just like the public comments.
Thank you once again, Dan Reed. Preliminarily, the CCNRs were drafted in the 1980s, long before marijuana was legal. There was no change in the CCNRs recently or otherwise. CCNRs expressly state, and they recognize the interests of my client as the majority owner of the shopping center. It states, quote, each occupant of the shopping center shall not use a parcel or permit the parcel to be used in any manner that will constitute a nuisance or unreasonable annoyance to the public, to other occupants of the shopping center, or to the declarant, or that will injure the reputation of the shopping center, end quote. Well, it is an unreasonable annoyance to the public. You heard numerous people speak on that issue, educators who are more than concerned with their own operation of their tenancy there, but with who they are working for, children. The declarant has the right, and the CCRs recognize his overwhelming interest in the shopping center, which, as you've heard, he's going to lose tenants likely if this is approved. And getting back to the legal or illegal, again, it's the consumer that we're concerned about. When it was illegal and an illegal operation was taking place, one would suppose that the consumer would be more discreet in what they did because pot was illegal. Well, they're going to be less discreet now that pot is legal. And you could bet your bottom dollar that illegal, well, strike that, that the consumption of marijuana in that shopping center is going to take place. It did before, and nothing is going to stop it from happening again. And with all due respect for the gentleman who just came up here, he does not control nor manage the common area. All of the parking in that center is considered to be common area under the maintenance of my client.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, I'm going to close the hearing and we'll do council deliberation.
Mayor, if I may just address one point that was raised that pertains to legal and illegal dispensaries, which may assist you in your deliberation. Would that be all right?
Sure.
Thank you. The gentleman makes a good point about illegal dispensaries not controlling the environment that is around them. And that has historically been the problem because they have nothing to lose. Unlike that, a legal dispensary that has a business permit issued by the city and a CUP issued by the city is mandated to control the surrounding environment. In other words, anything that goes on around that establishment is the responsibility of that establishment, and they are risking their business license as well as their conditional use permit if they allow anything illegal or anything that is a nuisance to occur around their location.
Okay, thank you. And I'll go ahead and start the deliberation. You know, I think that, you know, about a year ago, I think it's been about a year or a while ago, we did approve the land use, you know, for cannabis, you know, throughout the city, and there were specific areas, and we were very methodical about it as far as, you know, where it would be best, you know, making sure that it's away from schools. Obviously, we have to follow state law, and, you know, state law says 600 feet. So my understanding is that the staff, you know, did a great job, especially with the folks that we contracted with, to find those locations. We did open it to community commercial. And at that time, we had multiple meetings. We had study sessions. We had went to planning commission, council meeting. We had multiple times, and I think that was the best time that if, you know, someone didn't want it in a certain shopping center or in a certain place, that was the time to actually speak about it. Because once we approved that, that did give the business community or folks that were out there the impression that, you know, these are areas that the city, you know, is saying that, you know, that they can apply for. So I think that it should have really been done at the land use stage when we were really analyzing that, you know, and I think that was the most appropriate time to decide whether to have cannabis or not. I think there's been a lot of fallacies, you know, that have also been made as well. I don't think that kids, elementary students, will purchase those, the cannabis, it's illegal. Number one, it's an illegal thing. You can't sell it to kids, okay, or they can be arrested. And so, and the property owner as well. So we have conditions, a conditional use permit, and the Planning Commission, I believe it was 60 conditions that they have in there? Yeah, so I think there were 60, and those can always be revoked. So if he doesn't follow, the rules, if for whatever, reason, he's not following some of those conditions, it can always be revoked. Again, I think that the best time to really have this discussion was really when we were talking about the land use and where we were going to have it at that time, not at this time. I don't want to set a precedent as far as, us hearing these cases. My understanding when we started this whole thing was that we were going to have staff, review everything, and then it was going to go to Planning Commission. I don't think that we should be, making a decision here, but if we are, I'll recommend denial of the appeal. To follow staff's recommendation. Okay, there are subject matter experts, so we'll follow their staff's recommendation, and the Planning Commission, who also voted to 7-0 as well. Okay, so I'll open it up to other further deliberations. Okay, Councilmember Dr. Thornton.
Thank you, Mayor. So I have a couple thoughts concerning the argument about it being still illegal federally. I would say that, our legislators in Sacramento passed it. So in the state of California, it is legal to not only smoke cannabis, but to grow it, right? And even though there were some cities who did not pass cannabis, they're still being impacted because you can still sell cannabis in a mobile type of way, right? There's mobile delivery of cannabis. That is impacting cities throughout our state. And so I think it's very important for us when we're thinking about cannabis in our city to, because it's already passed in our city, to make sure that we're just positively impacted by it and not negatively impacted by it. We did allow cannabis to be in anything that was zoned community commercial. And so one thing that I would ask maybe in the future, how long has it been since we passed it? Like a year? So maybe I would ask for support from my fellow city council members if we can come back in maybe 6 months to a year to do a reevaluation of the land use for any future cannabis businesses that we approve. There might be some gaps of areas that we didn't capture. That might be a possibility, but I think that the only way that we'll be able to do that is by reevaluating. I understand the city attorney says that we're just modeling what's legal, what jurisdictions or what rules they have at the state level, but I don't think it would hurt to do a reevaluation of the land use and keep in mind things like adult daycares or entertainment centers that have a high amount of children that visit, and just think about what could we do to ensure that those areas are safe. But as it stands, it's legal in the state of California. It's legal in the city of Moreno Valley to have cannabis. We need to just make sure that we're thinking forward and thinking about positive ways that not only we can benefit from the sale of cannabis in our city, but that it has a positive impact on our community.
Thank you. Mayor Pro Tem Baca?
I just want to reiterate that I still don't believe that we're the body to hear this matter. It's a dispute and squabble between the business association and the property owner, and that's my point initially, and I still believe that. I don't believe that it's a de novo hearing, that we should be hearing the issues that should have come before the council when we were approving the land use or when the CUP went before the Planning Commission. I don't think that that's our role. And I agree with my colleagues that that train left the station a long time ago. So this is where we are, and I agree with the mayor that we should approve the staff recommendations 1 and 2. Thank you.
Councilmember Cabrera?
Thank you, Mayor. I'll concur with the opinions of all of my colleagues that have spoken thus far, and I'll add a couple of points as well. Number one, regarding the security for dispensaries and the conditions that we're imposing on all dispensaries that are going to be operating here in the city of Moreno Valley. Number one, actual on-site security that's going to be required to be there at all times while it's operating. And in addition to that, the additional police patrol that we're going to have as a result of tax revenue and also fees that are going to be paid through the application process and the CUPs, et cetera, et cetera. So before, where illegal dispensaries did not have, they were not required because they didn't follow the law to have on-site security. They were also not paying in to any police enforcement, no police officers, any police patrol, anything. Now, with the legal dispensaries, they will, and they're required to do that. So now we're going to have police actually patrolling through that parking lot where that was not present before. So that's the first point. Second of all, I heard concerns about the dispensary and marijuana itself, but there's currently at least 2 liquor stores there in that complex. There's also a recently opened bar that just opened next to the previous Rising Stars Business Academy. And so I don't hear anything of concern regarding the alcohol sale. So there shouldn't really be a double standard there. And that kind of leads me to my next point of the differences between alcohol and marijuana. I have said it up here on this day as before. I see them as equal. I don't think that one is worse than the other. Alcohol is a drug, so is marijuana. Underage youth in particular should not be using it because of the effects psychologically on human development especially. But once you're an adult, you have, in the state of California, the voters approved it and the legislature approved it. You have the right to purchase it and consume it within the privacy of your home. So I don't think there should be that double standard. While I do concede your point where today's cannabis is much stronger than what it used to be several decades ago. I will concede that point. My fourth point, again, goes to Rising Stars Business Academy. They moved out of that shopping center. It's as recent as months ago. It hasn't even been a year. And I know that because I've spoken to the operators of that school. And they told me the reason why they left that shopping center was because of the bar that was opening next door to their location. That's why they left that shopping center. So my last and final point is that, I understand the concerns brought forth by the appellant and on behalf of the property owner, right, the appellant. I understand all those concerns and everything, and also the tenants, and I thank the tenants for coming out here and sharing their opinion as well. But I think that the appropriate venue for this issue is to go through private litigation and figure it out between the property owners. I don't believe that this is the city's place to make this decision. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilmember Marquez.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Everybody knows I was against the marijuana, period. I'm still against it. City should have never, ever got into this business. When staff was directed to look into this, they wanted a 4 to 6 month answer. I knew these problems were going to happen, and they're going to continue happening. We should have taken our time doing this, and we didn't. What bothers me the most is this shopping center, when it starts losing its business owners because of one other business, I guarantee you that's going to be a ghost town. It's going to be a ghost town. And yes, the applicant has his rights. It's his building. This should have been done between the applicant and the owners before it came to us. But at the same time, it should have never gone to the Planning Commission. They're appointed individuals. We're elected. We're the ones who should be making this decision, not Planning Commission. Talk about underage kids. It's not about underage kids purchasing the product. It's the surrounding areas. You got a church, you got a school, you have a school district office there, you have kids. You got a trampoline center that, do you see adults going in there on the trampoline? I don't think so. You see more kids going in there. You have Sunday services. This business owner says he's going to have between 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock at night. While they're having church across the lot, they're going to be selling marijuana, cannabis. They're going to be smoking it out there. They're not kidding anybody. They're going to sit out there just like they do with the alcohol. Is PD going to enforce it? Most likely they will, if they can get out there. Our PD, we have calls, emergency calls, that they can't respond because we don't have enough manpower. Now we got to worry about a shopping center? I don't think that's right. I might be the lone one up here against it, but it doesn't bother me because, first of all, this is for the community. It's not about me. It's not about us. It's about the community and what they want. And I guarantee you, if you walked out there and took a survey of all the residents out there, they would say, we don't want it there. But we didn't do that. Did the business owner reach out to the community? I don't see anywhere in here that they did. So yes, I'm against it. And I think we should overrule this planning commission. And maybe we should all sit down and look at what is presented to the planning commission. Thank you.
All right, Mayor Pro Tem Baca.
I just wanted to add that our staff, whether it's code enforcement, our police department, they work diligently to close down illegal dispensaries. Maybe we can get a count from our city attorney. Go ahead. But how many?
Thank you. Very quickly, since May, 8 of them, we are currently have no advertised open illegal dispensaries in the city.
But how many have we closed so far?
I would say around 30 since I've been
30?
here. Yeah.
Okay. So we work diligently closing down illegal dispensaries. And in fact, our staff even went to court against the illegal dispensary that was opened up at that plaza. So I just want you to know that there is a difference. You may say there isn't, but there is. And these are businesses, and they belong in our community. They are in our community. The people voted for it. People voted to tax them. And that's where we are today. And like I said, we're not hearing this all over again. We're not starting from ground zero. We're starting, like I said, I don't think it should be before us tonight. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to go ahead and close the deliberation. I'm going to entertain a motion by council to approve staff's recommendations numbers 1 and 2, which is to deny appeal.
So moved.
Okay, moved by Mayor Pro Tem Baca, second by Councilmember Dr. Thornton. Please vote. Okay, and it is denied. So it passes 4 yes to deny and then 1 no. Okay, we'll move on to the next item. We'll just take a 5-minute break and then we'll come back. Council meeting. We're going to go ahead and get started. We just took a break. We are now going to move to our joint consent calendars, sections A through E on the agenda. All items listed under the consent calendar, sections A, B, C, D, and E, are considered to be routine and non-controversial and may be enacted by one motion. The motion to adopt the consent calendars is deemed to be a separate motion by each agency and shall be so recorded by the city clerk. Items withdrawn for report or discussion will be heard after public hearing items. So at this time, if you'd like any items for discussion, please press your button. Okay, we have Councilmember Cabrera. Which items would you like for discussion?
Items A7, A25, and A26 for comment.
Or just, what did you say, 826?
25 and 26, yes.
26, okay. Okay, let's start with A7.
Yeah, so A7.
Comment, yeah.
Yeah, it's the El Grito proposal for sponsorship, which is just wanted to make sure that everybody is aware why we're sponsoring it. You know, it's taking place here at our college. I believe this is the 3rd year in a row that it's happening, and every year we get better attendance. So it's celebrating Mexican Independence Day on September 16th. So this year it's taking place on Sunday, September 15th, and I just want to invite everyone to come on out and share that time with us.
Thank you. And while you're at it, since we're right there, I'll just mention A6. It says proposed membership in the United States Conference of Mayors. This is something I put on the agenda because by being an actual member of the U.S. Conference of Mayors, they have multiple grants, actually several grants, and we've actually missed a lot of opportunities to apply for those grants, but the main reason is because we're not a member, so they won't even accept. There's been a lot of things that have come from that, the Homeless to Work program, the MoVal Learns, Mayor's Challenge from Bloomberg. A lot of great initiatives have come from a lot of things that have, every time that we've attended the U.S. Conference of Mayors, so I just want to make that clear. But that's the main reason why it's there, so that way we have an opportunity to apply for several grants, and that's all I'll say there. Thank you. Okay, so 825.
Yeah, 825. It's approving the grant application for revitalizing our community facility that we have over on the base, and this is being led by our Parks Department. And I just want to let everybody know that we are going after, I believe it's a little over $4 million to revitalize that center that we have there. And we have a few different ideas of what we want to do for the community, to have new programs and maybe have some facilities for dancing or boxing or exercise or even seniors, so that we can come out and have a couple programs there. So I just wanted to point that out. And go ahead and do 26. Yeah. And the last one, 26, is also another grant that we actually have received now. And I also want to thank our Parks Department, Patty Solano, and all of our staff, honestly. This is a grant for $25,000 that's going to help fund our community garden, the first one that we've had here in the city that's actually going to be built right behind the rec center. So this is hopefully the first of many grants that's going to come to help build that here in the near future. And I just wanted to thank our staff for getting that grant here for us.
Thank you, Councilmember Cabrera. We have Councilmember Marquez.
Yeah, real quick. I wanted to thank Parks too, Patty, for that going after that grant. That's fantastic. I mean, that would really put us on the map for parks.
Oh yeah.
And believe me, when we met, the first thing I told you was let's just do it. I think it's great, especially when you get free money too. So it's not a matching thing. My colleague here already talked about 26, but that was also great from Kaiser giving us the money there. And that's all I had. I just wanted to say.
Great. Thank you. Any public comments on consent calendars? Consent items other than the separate actions, Madam Clerk?
Yes, Lindsay Robinson wants to speak on A8 and A9.
All right. Okay, Lindsay Robinson.
A8 is just questions regarding the Hawaii trip for the mayors, and of course people want to know why Ms. Baca also went, but the question is, why is her expenses much higher than Mr. Gutierrez's? Her registration was higher, her flight was twice as much, and her hotel was almost $700 more. So I know you probably can't answer that now, but if you can, that'd be great. And that's just questions, no comments.
Okay, thank you, Lindsay. Oh, and then A9 you said?
I feel like Roy Blecker tonight. Okay, sorry folks. Okay, not counting today's appointments, there are 45 openings on our boards, commissions, committees, and many highly qualified applicants who wish to volunteer and have a heart for the city are being ignored. Combining first and second choices, there are 95 possible appointments that could fill almost all the commissions. Many groups can't meet for lack of quorum because the appointments aren't being made. You stated in the PE article of 2/21/18 that you screen and interview all who apply, and that's just not true. The city stated in an email response to me that there are no records of interviews, and none of the applicants I have spoken to has received an interview. In fact, none of them even received an acknowledgement that their application was received. You stated that you screen all applicants, yet you have appointed several who could not pass background checks, many who never attended one of the required meetings prior to the appointment, some who lied on their applications, and one who did not even apply to the appointed commission. Tonight, that pattern continues. After reading all the applications submitted that I received from City Hall, it's quite clear that the best and the most qualified are not being appointment, and you're discriminating against many qualified, good people who love the city and wish to serve. I have a spreadsheet here of all the applications, everything they've applied for. This is not fake data, and it's stuff the city supplied to me. So I think you should be able to fill almost all the commissions, boards, and committees completely from the qualified applicants that have been received. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, I entertain a motion to approve.
Mayor, we have one more speaker, Luis Palomares.
Okay.
On which item?
Which item?
A14.
A14. Oh, okay. All right. Hi, Luis.
Hello, community activist here. Okay, I'm talking about the A14. I think it's a great idea that the staff is doing this, that they're going to gradually, start from A and end at Z. It's real simple, and I'm good. I support that. And also, I believe half of the stuff that Mrs. Robinson says is a bunch of nonsense. I don't believe half the stuff she says. She don't have no data to back it up. She says she does. Well, I want to see it. And she's coming up here slandering one of the council members. Where does she get this information? Where does she get this lie at? I mean, shame on her. It never ends with these people. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Luis. Okay, I entertain a motion to approve. Okay, motion
Second.
by Councilmember Marquez, second by Mayor Pro Tem Baca. Okay, please go ahead and please vote. Okay, and it's approved unanimously, so we'll move to item F1, which is a public hearing for NPDS. It's gotta get there. And we'll have a public hearing for 2 national pollutant discharge elimination system. We'll have a report from Public Works.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, members of the council. This item before you this afternoon is exactly that, 2 NPDS parcel balloting procedures for 2 separate industrial warehouse projects. The first project is a warehouse at the northeast corner of Frederick and Brodea. The second project is a warehouse in the southeast corner of Nandina and Indian. As a requirement of their conditions of approval for these projects, they're required to meet state NPDS requirements. These 2 applicants have chosen to use the special districts options, which is to satisfy the condition of approval. And those are going to be done through the NPDS parcel charge. This affects the 2 property owners, which are 2 parcels. So staff makes a recommendation to hold the public hearing, and absent any compelling testimony otherwise, close the public hearing, and recommend that council approve the action to conduct a ballot process. And then also, if accepting of the results, and if it's a yes vote, set the rate as identified in the staff report. That concludes my report.
Okay, thank you. All right, any council questions of staff? Seeing none, I'm going to open the hearing. Any public testimony, Madam Clerk?
None.
Okay, we'll go ahead and close the hearing. Any council deliberation? Seeing none, I'll entertain a motion that we approve staff's recommendation number 2, which is to direct the city clerk to open and count the returned NPDS ballots. Okay, moved by Councilmember Marquez.
Second.
Second by Mayor Pro Tem Baca. Okay, so that was Marquez and Baca. Okay. All right, and it's approved 5-0, and we'll have our clerk.
Ballot 1 says yes. Weighted 1 count.
You said 9?
Ballot 1 for Indian Nandina says yes.
Okay.
And then ballot 2 for RG Centerpoint says yes. And it's weighted, it just has a parcel number.
I just want to know the majority.
It says yes.
So everything's yes, okay. All right, great. So I entertain a motion by council to approve staff's recommendations numbers 3 and 4, which is to verify and accept the results. Okay, moved by Councilmember Marquez, second by Councilmember Dr. Thornton. Please vote. Okay, and it's approved. We'll do city council reports. It's approved 5-0. Motion passes. We have Riverside Transit Agency, Councilmember Marquez.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. On September 8th, RTA will make several schedule and route changes to boost the performance, enhance the connections, and expand service in new areas. Moreno Valley residents will see an additional trips on Route 19. Route 19 is one of the main routes through Moreno Valley, and it is very, very popular. If you have any questions or concerns, you may visit the RTA website, riversidetransit.com, if you need any more details. That concludes my report. Thank you.
All right, thank you. We have WRCOG from Mayor Pro Tem Baca and also the School District City Joint Task Force. You can do both.
Okay, thank you so much. The items covered at the WRCOG Executive Committee meeting on August 5th include the Executive Committee took action to approve reimbursement agreement amendments for 2 city capital projects. One of the amendments allocated an additional $7,500,000 for construction of the Moreno Beach interchange at State Route 60. The Phase 2 improvements will include the replacement of the 2-lane overcrossing on Moreno Beach Drive. Along with the funds previously secured from other sources, the TUMP fees will fully fund Phase 2 of the improvements. The ramp improvements were completed in Phase 1 of the project. An amendment was also approved to use TUMP funds to fully cover final expenses for the Nason Street State Route 60 interchange project. The Nason interchange improvement included reconstruction of the bridge structure and ramp. Today was the Joint Task Force. We had representative from our city, City Moreno Valley Police Department, and our Parks and Rec, Traffic and Engineering, the school district, including Think Together, Riverside Community College. And today we met to discuss the community to attend the ribbon cuttings and dedication ceremonies for the new football fields and tracks at Vista del Lago on September 6th and Moreno Valley High School on September 10th. In cooperation with the California State Parks, Think Together provided field trips for over 1,000 youth to Lake Paris over the summer to enjoy a variety of recreational activities. And that concludes my reports.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Yeah, it's nice of Think Together to do that. That's great. Okay, we'll go ahead and go straight to public comments on non-agenda items. Madam Clerk, how many speakers do we have today?
5.
Okay, are they all present?
I don't know. I would need to call them out.
Could you call, just to make sure?
Corey Moore, Harold, I'm sorry, that's the wrong one. Barbara Baxter, Lindsay Robinson, Rafael Burgueras, Jeanette Burton, and Bob Palomares.
Okay, all right, we'll go ahead and have, I don't believe Corey Moore is here. I think I saw him leave.
No, it's Barbara Baxter.
Barbara Baxter. And then?
Lindsay Robinson and Rafael Burgueras.
Okay.
Moment. Oh, my Lord, if I knew it was going to be this late, I'd have went home. My leg is throbbing. Anyway, I'm going to take these 4 seconds off of there. My name is Barbara Baxter, representative president of the Trail Seekers of Moreno Valley, here tonight to accept our parade trophy with joy, and thank you so much. We appreciate being a part of the city's parade for my 2nd year as president, and it's an honor to be able to represent the equestrian community of Moreno Valley, which is a thriving community which we hope to have even more representation throughout the city on both sides, not just on the east end, but we'd like to see more representation throughout the entire city. My main thrust of being here tonight is on September 21st. It's going to be a very exciting day for the equestrian community as well as the city of Moreno Valley, as we will be hosting our first and hopefully not our last Equine Equestrian Disaster Expo, held at 11150 Redlands Boulevard, the Moreno Valley Equestrian Center, the jewel of Moreno Valley and a jewel in Riverside County. We will be hosting demonstrations, interactive demonstrations. We will have clinicians. We will have speakers there. We'll have representation from the Moreno Valley Police Department, the Fire Department, the American Red Cross, as well as a company called Equisafe, which specializes in disaster preparedness equipment for equestrian people. And we also will have a silent auction. We'll have a tax sale and some other things that we hope will draw out the community from not just Moreno Valley. We've been advertising since we got the green light. And I must say, I have to thank Patty for working very hard with us. I've spent a lot of time with her. I've even thought about putting a cot in her office. I've spent so much time with her. But we've worked very hard with them to get this thing off the ground. And when we get finished with it, we hope it will be a great event that will be talked about near and far. We've invited groups from all over, Yucaipa, Norco, Altaloma, all the equestrian communities that we interact with as a network. And unfortunately, the equestrian community is under assault in a lot of cities, so we band together and we ride together and we talk. So we hope to see you out there on September 21st. The event will run from 10 to 2. And we've also invited our council representative, Carla Thornton, to come out as well. And we hope to have a good turnout. We hope to see you there. And we hope that this will, as I say, be a great event that will show those that have horses and maybe people who don't have horses that want to have horses, or your neighbors can come out and understand the equestrian community. Thank you so much. And I'm going to let that time run out.
All right. Thank you, Barbara, and thank you for your service and also for the Parks and Rec and Trails as well. Thank you. All right, we have Lindsay Robinson, followed by Rafael Brugueras and Jeanette Burton.
I'm here to update our residents on the Ironwood Village fiasco and to thank all the residents, the former Planning Commission, former Trail Board, Moreno Valley detectives, and the DA's office for their assistance in stopping this project. It was an inappropriate project being forced on the residents in the northeast end of town, where they were going to remove the last of the remaining animal keeping overlays, shrink the lot sizes, effectively isolating the horse properties on the west from the east. The former Planning Commission and the Trail Board both unanimously voted no. The Trail Board was our checks and balance to save our master plan trails, and they have since been disbanded. They uncovered discrepancies between the developer's written report and their verbal presentation. Meetings were rescheduled several times, forcing residents to go door to door to inform the people, because the city only notifies within 300 feet, but not always at all of the people. 196 approximate fraudulent letters of support were provided by the project, and our city attorney and staff allowed them to be uploaded. Residents uncovered the fraud, investigated, and met with former Chief Ontiveros and his police detective. They immediately had those letters removed because they could see anyone looking at them could tell they were fake. And they investigated. They sent it to the district attorney's office. The good news is Joseph Ravani's consultant, Alex Ramirez, was found guilty of felony ID theft, which resulted in jail time, community service, and 5 years probation for this fraud that they perpetrated on the residents of Moreno Valley. And our staff was part of it. We asked them to stop, but again, we had to go to the police and the DA's office. On that note, and based on the new precedent set by the city last year, we have begun a petition drive to have the city purchase the 75 acres for sale at Ironwood and Nason for an open space nature park. We've seen how quickly City Hall can find money for projects not in the budget nor capital improvement plan, so we are respectively requesting that you move forward immediately by contacting the seller with an offer and finding the fund for this parkland. We will provide you as many signatures as you require, similar to the skate park kids, and hope you generously exaggerate our numbers as you do for others. That is being said facetiously. I do have the numbers of the people for sale. I do have our wording of the petition. And if I still have 26, we have a second petition. As there seems to be no shortage of funds for consultants, we are requesting that the city hire a consultant for the establishment of 6 council districts. And we ask that this get accomplished prior to the 2020 election date to ensure a more equal and equitable representation. Thank you. let us know how many signatures you'd like.
Thank you. Next, 3 speakers.
Rafael Burgueras, Janet Burton, Bob Palomares.
Good evening, Mayor,
Speakers
council
can
members,
get ready.
staff, residents, and our guests. I want to say thank you to the staff for bringing honor to our city. Once again, we've been recognized for having the best fiscal year. Again, 2017 and 2018. A lot of people don't pick up this little newsletter that's in the businesses. I just happened to pick it up in August, and I read that once again, we have been awarded for being one of the best cities in the country. See, it's just not Riverside County. It's the whole United States and Canada. This organization brings honor to us because of our staff who does their job with transparency. I know a lot of people would like to talk about the staff, that they're crooked and bad, but I don't believe that. And many of us don't believe that either. So we leave it at that. But I know they bring us more honor than disgrace, and that's a living fact. Because there's honor, there's people that come with certificates and give it to the mayor to give it to us. And that's what we want our staff to continue to do for us, each and one of them. And we're grateful for that. And we're grateful to be recognized once again for being a fiscal city for the 8th year in a row. Congratulations to the city of Moreno Valley and every resident that lives in this city.
Thank you, Rafael, and that is true. We were ranked top 3, not in the county or the state, but in the nation for being the 3rd most fiscally solvent city. Thank you. Okay, next 3 speakers, Jeanette Burton, Bob Palomares, and Luis Palomares.
Good evening. I'm here on behalf of someone who contacted me on Facebook. Sadly, it's because of our animal shelter. Family just recently moved here, and 2 of their dogs got lost. They ended up at the shelter. The problem became when they finally located their dogs. The shelter told them $600 to get their dogs back. That's ridiculous. They asked for more time, 4 more days, so they could come up with the money. The shelter said no. Their dogs were adopted out. They had had their dogs since they were 8 weeks old. I offered to help them. I said, what can I do? Because I'm a dog owner. I had had my Great Dane for 9 years. I worked with the shelter. One of their dogs was returned back to the shelter. It broke my heart. The other dog, they don't know where or how the dog was adopted. I talked to the young lady this evening. I told her, I said, come here. She said, I can't. She said, I work nights. I said, okay. I said, I'm going to try to help you get the word out because our animals are like our family. And I understand that. What I don't understand is the cost. How does this happen? Our shelter's first responsibility is to return lost pets to their families. So, explain this to me. Ulysses, I understand that the young lady contacted your office. Okay, so you know something? It's like, I'd like to know, where are we going wrong? Because I understand that the animals at the shelter are being euthanized. I offer transportation. I offer a freedom ride. I work with a rescue. At any time I close down my studio, if a rescue calls and says, Jeanette, we need transportation, I go. I will travel up to 100 miles to take an animal out of a shelter to get them to a new home. So somewhere
we're doing it wrong. I want to know, how can we help this family get their other dog home?
Thank you, Ms. Burton. We'll have next two speakers, Bob Palomares and Luis Palomares, and we will definitely look into this situation. First I've heard of it. Thank you. Okay.
Good evening, Council.
Bob?
Boy, it's been, what, a month? Y'all look younger, except for Marcus. But I'm here to just say thank you to the Chief of Police for all the great work that they did the last couple of days with the incident of the officer that was killed. They responded quick, and I was following it all the way up, and I understand today was services for that man, and what a great man, what he gave to this community, and he lived here on top of it. But I appreciate fire and police. These people don't get paid enough. We see them sitting here, but when they go into action, they know what they're doing, and if you're on the end that you need help, they're like angels when you see them come, because they're going to save your life, maybe. Also, I understand there was a fire on the East End. I have a friend that lives there, and he said that he's seen a council member over there. I'm not going to name him, but interfering or the fire department getting in, in the way. Don't need that. And then I want to speak about David Marquez talking about people smoking outside the cannabis or dispensary or whatever, where it's going to be the one that you were speaking about earlier. When we had all the illegal ones, he wasn't doing anything about it. He didn't scream and every council meeting say, Chief, can you get over there? And he didn't do none of that. He's the same way, just like when he was always professing to clean up the city. He did it for a little while. People could see him out there. He won't do it now. The guy's always looking for a problem to make worse. That's all. He is who he is. If you really get to know him and you talk to him and you look back at his history, it's as far as you're going to go. So, thank you.
Okay, next speaker is Luis Palomares.
Luis Palomares, community activist. Wow. Our heart breaks for the young man, the CHP officer. It's very sad. There's no words. Our condolences go out to his family. And I know the services were today. I hear so many people were there. That's a good thing, because that's consoling and having respect for who he was and what he did for our community. And he was one of our own. I know he went to Landmark Middle, Moreno Valley, Valley View High. I think the mayor knew him personally. It's really sad, like he was one of our own. Okay, on another note, I was watching before I came over and I seen the awards that were giving out to the students. It was so great. The little ones, oh wow, it was beautiful. It touches my heart when we see things like that. And it's so great that we got a council here, that they're all involved with they built that bridge between the school district and the city council. It's great. They have a heart for our students in the community. Our mayor, Mrs. Baca, goes out there and, advocates for kids with all kinds of disabilities, all kinds of special needs, all of that. Dr. Thornton, she does the same thing. She's out there teaching in our colleges. Thank you for all that. And Cabrera, he's on it too. Thank you, Cabrera. I really appreciate that. On another note, okay, Lindsay Robinson got up here and gave all her fake news and propaganda, and I don't think half of the things, she don't even got the facts, and where she gets these facts, I don't know. She exaggerates, and oh wow, she's always tearing things down instead of building them up. And I agree on some things that she says, but the majority of I don't, Okay, Marcus said last time, Councilmember Marcus here said last time, wow, one of my colleagues put these two individuals, Robert Palomares and Louise, let's say the name, Robert Palomares and Louise Palomares, puts them up to this. That's not true. Nobody could put words in my mouth, not even my own husband. After 54 years, he can't even say, do this, do that. Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me? Nobody puts words in my mouth. And all you did was open up a can of worms, because now I want to know. You hired and you fired, and give me a break. You know, you don't have a heart for our city. You know, you're all over the map. You don't know what you're coming or going half the time. You don't have a heart. Like I said, like the Tin Man, you don't got a heart for our city. Like the cowardly lion, you're a coward. Like the, scarecrow, you only if you had a brain. And now you lie and you lie every time you exaggerate. Like you said, about the cannabis thing. This and that. You voted for it in the end. You voted for it. You said your constituents, you had talked to them, and they were for it. So you voted for it at the last. Not only that, you even went to a convention, a cannabis convention, and brought your stuff back and showed it to us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, next speaker, we have Manuel Topete, followed by Tom Gerald.
Good evening, Council. My name is Menyo Topete. I'm the owner of Menyo Stereo here in Moreno Valley. I've been a business owner here for 30 years now. September 1st will be 30 years. And just a last-minute stop here because I'm a little unimpressed with some of the things that are happening in Edgemont. First of all, my shopping center's been there for 30 years. Well, I've been in there. But since 1964, my shopping center's been there. And I got no streetlights in front of my business. But there's fields over there that's owned by Edo that have streetlights, LED to be exact. But I've been there 30 years, been home invasioned at my house because of the business, no suspects. Been robbed 5 times, no suspects. Even when I gave a video of the robberies, no suspects. 30 years I've been in business. Where's my taxpayer money going? Why is there no streetlights in front of Edgemont? This question is for Victoria Baca. Why is there no streetlights in front of my business? Why is there streetlights in front of the fields that have no businesses on them? You can tell which properties Edo wants simply by looking at where there's no streetlights. Now, if I'm upset, I'm not going to apologize for it because I have a right to be upset, Victoria. You're my council member, and we voted for you, and I helped you get voted on the first time around, which I regret because you haven't done anything for us. I don't see you in our district. People get ran over because it's dark out there. You know, we had a change in police chief recently. Did anybody tell us that there was a change in police chief? Could we not walk up to the old police chief and think he's still the boss? We need to be told what's going on. Edgemont is being left in the dark, literally. Somebody needs to go down Alessandro and look at the streetlights. Should I have to risk my life, my employees' lives, because there's no lights? You know, some of these fires in Edgemont, you have to start to wonder. When a building burns in Edgemont, it doesn't get rebuilt. It becomes a local, empty field that will be rezoned. I am on a commercial property. Let me take that back. I am on a residential property. My property was rezoned from commercial to residential. I lost over $500,000 overnight in property value. Can somebody explain to me why my shopping center was rezoned to residential when it's been commercial since '64, been paying taxes on my property since '64, why all the hoses at my car wash keep getting cut, why there's no lights at my car wash because it gets vandalized? Can you explain to me why I filed over 30 police reports from that property and no suspects have ever been arrested? These are questions that I have for my council member as a businessman. Thank you.
Thank you. Next speaker is Tom Gerald, Senior.
Thank you, Mayor. Tom Gerald speaking on behalf of myself, Mayor Gutierrez, Mayor Protem Baca, council members, members of staff and the public, both here in our chambers and watching at home or on the internet. Main reason I want to come tonight is to give some well-earned kudos for our Public Works Department. I can't tell you how many times since I've been driving, the last 2 years now, I see a lot more things than I used to see, and a lot of it debris in the roadway, which I'm not shy about calling in. And sometimes anything from a 5-inch bolt, which could knock somebody's tire out really easy at a busy intersection, up to some really big messes, including a whole carload of stuff dumped, an engine, a transmission, tires, seats, all kinds of stuff on the sidewalk we found in the middle of the night. So I've called upon them many times, like I said, from big to small, and they get right on it. And I've actually met the people. That car dump I found was on Indian and Dunn Levy about 1:30 in the morning, and of course there's no city people. So I called the PD mainly so they could cite it and have a police record of it. And they told me it'd be a while for the deputy got there, but I hung around. So he showed up and did a real thorough job of investigating and looking for any evidence to possibly track it. And then he, through some source he had, he was able to get a hold of somebody at the city, and within a half an hour we had a public works foreman out there and kind of assessed the things. So we'll be back 7:30 in the morning, and they were out there 7:35 sharp, got it all cleaned up, picked up, and so I appreciate that. And then the potholes, I've cited a lot of potholes, and not only are they fixing them, but they're doing a really good job on them. It's not just stuffing in the hole there, but it looks like they spread it out. And I'm not an asphalt expert, but I have been in the building game for a while, and so looks like they do a good thorough job. So I want to give those kudos. And graffiti patrol or abatement, that's such a, I call on that many, many, many times. So I see the difference when I go to other communities. And finally, I'd just like to thank City for another great 4th of July and the parade and the picnic. And, it's a real calling card for our city. And I'll welcome you back to your session and another year of service there. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Tom. Appreciate it. Okay.
No more speakers.
That concludes public comments. Okay, we will go, and we already did city council reports. We'll go to I2, which is city manager's report, followed by city attorney's report. And city manager, maybe if you could address some of those concerns.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Good evening, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, members of the council. I want to address 3 of the comments made tonight. First of all, on the streetlights. It's important to note that not all of the streetlights in the city of Moreno Valley are owned or operated by the city of Moreno Valley, particularly in Edgemont, where a lot of that area is provided streetlight service or not provided by the Edgemont Community Services District. As the council and residents know, we're replacing streetlights. We're replacing the fixtures to upgrade them to LED. The only area that won't be upgraded is outside the city's control, and that would be in the Edgemont Community Services District. So I just wanted to state that we're very proud of the service we provide. And just want to help clarify that a little bit. Second issue, I'm going to speak briefly about a resident tonight. I know we all share her passion for pets. I can say that this city council is the most pro-pet city council I've ever worked with. Your support for our animal shelter has been instrumental in turning around the rates of our ability to save pets. 2/3 of dogs are now saved rather than euthanized, and that's because the council stood up and said, we support this, we're going to put our resources there, and we support the staff's efforts. So thank you for that. The specific incident that the speaker talked about, I am familiar with. I can say that based on the information I've been provided, I've seen absolutely no indication that anything improper was done at all. For these pets were not under the control of their owner, and so they became shelter pets. When pets enter the shelter, we have to provide care for them. And the vet bills often reflect that pets need to be spayed or neutered, that the owner hasn't done it, so we have to do it at public expense. So in order to retrieve the pets, we require the owner to pay the cost. With that being said, I will also tell you there are situations where we do try to work with the owners, payment plans or what have you. I also know that our staff reached out, that the adoptions that were done of those pets were fully compliant with the law and with our standard procedures. When the owner came back and said, hey, even after the extension period had run out, said, "Can I get my dogs back?" Our staff contacted the new owners of both pets. One of them, out of the goodness of their heart, said, "Yes, we'll bring the pet back." The other said, "No, this pet's now a member of our family. We're taking care of it, and it's our pet." And so I'm very confident that our folks did the right things. We're not going to go into it in too much greater detail per a conversation I had with the owner, and I suggested that she pursue a different line of inquiry. The last comment that I want to address really riled me. City staff are public servants through and through, 24/7, 365. But that does not justify, does not allow someone to utter baseless accusations that staff engaged in illegal activities. Mrs. Robinson's statements were not factual, they were not truthful, and I have to think she knows better. I can tell you that although I'm thoroughly disappointed by those statements, I'm not at all surprised, and I hope that Mrs. Robinson will stop making such baseless accusations regarding conduct of city employees. On a positive note, that's my transition. This is what I really wanted to talk to you about tonight. I want to thank the council and the community for a fantastic summer. We had so many wonderful events, from our 4th of July, which you recognize tonight, to our concerts and parks and gatherings, and I want to thank the council for your participation in all those. I'd also like to thank each of you for the time you spent with us over the last couple months in meetings and planning sessions, one-on-one, talking with me and other key staff about important issues. Thank you also for inviting us to some of the meetings that you had with constituents throughout the summer. It was very busy on the second floor, and I'd like to thank you for sharing your summer with us. And that concludes my report.
Thank you, City Manager, City Attorney.
Thank you, Honorable Mayor Pro Tem. Good to be back in the rhythm of having meetings. Having said that, I did omit to mention on number A19 that your approval of that parcel map 37657 is conditional on our receipt of some additional bond paperwork. So we are confident that that will come in. We actually expected it to come in today or sometime this week. If it does not, we'll be back before you with this item at the next meeting. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, City Attorney. Okay, we'll go with Councilmember Dr. Thornton.
Thank you, Mayor. How long do we have to talk? I feel like I need to catch up.
Well, we'll do 5 minutes each. Yeah.
Okay. You said the timer
Since you
passed.
asked.
So, thank you so much, Mayor. As our city manager stated, we had a very busy summer, and I just wanted to start off by recognizing the tragic loss that we had. Officer Andre Moya grew up here in Moreno Valley, and he attended Ridgecrest Elementary and Landmark Middle School, and the mayor went with him to high school in Valley View, and he was able to fulfill his lifelong dream of becoming a California Highway Patrol officer while protecting the citizens of Riverside County. He was tragically killed, and he was recognized for his commitment to volunteerism and attended many community events, and his contribution to the public will speak beyond well into the future. He was a role model for us, and I think we should need to keep his family and his wife, his parents, and his extended law enforcement family in our prayers. And I would ask the mayor if we could honor him with a moment of silence later and close the city council meeting in his memory. That would be greatly appreciated. Public safety, we had our public safety, me and the Mayor Pro Tem had our public safety subcommittee meeting today, and I just wanted to recognize the great partnership that we have between our fire and our police. We now have a really amazing program. I think, was it only one of its kind in this area, where we have 21 automated external defibrillators now throughout the city. So our Fire was able to train our sheriff's deputies to if they're responding to a call and someone has a heart attack, to now use this tool. And so they're going to be saving lives. They found that there were many times where police were able to respond faster than fire and our EMTs. And so this is going to make a really big difference. This is the investment we're making in our community concerning public safety. So I really value that partnership, and I'm looking forward to hearing about the numerous success stories from that. Also, Councilmember Cabrera and I were able to go to the Ben Clark Training Center and go through a use of force training that our sheriff's deputies go through. And I was so happy not only to experience that with my colleague, but when you're out there to be able to be in our sheriff's deputies position and the split minute decisions they have to make when they're put in a situation that could put themselves and their lives, that they're experience a loss, that they're able to they're able to utilize the training that they receive from our training center. So I really appreciated that. Since I only have 2 minutes and 15 seconds left, I want to talk about two things. Burros. I took a tour of the animal shelter earlier, and it's amazing. Our animal shelter is amazing. And when you look at the data and how many dogs and cats and animals have been adopted out and fostered, and the decrease in euthanasia rates, it's remarkable. And I was somehow conned into fostering a baby kitten. So this is how pro-pet friendly our city council is. But the burros, it's illegal to feed burros. And in District 2, this is probably the biggest complaint I receive from the amount of burros that are tearing up people's yards and getting killed. And a lot of it has to do with those people who think that burros are like a pet, and they're not. They're wildlife. It's illegal to feed them. And the reason they're coming down into District 2, Sunnymead Ranch, and Springs, is because we're feeding them. They associate humans with food. So please stop feeding the cute burros. Please. Lastly, fireworks. I wish we had a city council meeting during July just for this, because I feel like we're a month late. Fireworks, it was ridiculous the amount of fireworks that we experienced, and I'm hoping to get the city council's support on this. I would like for us to discuss firework prevention at our another public safety committee. So what I would propose is that we start some type of task force between fire, code enforcement, and police. That they have an enforcement team. Either during the 4th of July, I would like to practice it during New Year's Eve, where they're activated maybe for like 5 hours during that time. And the team's whole purpose is to go out to those areas because we know who's shooting off fireworks on our block, right? I know exactly down the street. They do it every single year. They actually have a party. They have folding chairs in their driveway, and they shoot them off. And so if you know who those neighbors are, like we just start snitching on them, right? Call this random number and then have this team go and cite them. So I'm hoping to get my city council members' support on this, because I'm about to do what the constituents do and go over my time, Mayor, just real quick. I received this cute, there's like a sad dog face, a handwritten letter from a constituent. I'm going to assume this was an older person, because they're the only ones that write handwritten letters nowadays. And she wrote in cursive, so that's how I know she's older. Complaining about her poor dogs and how traumatized they were from the fire. So we need to do something about it. I know that it's not going to prevent it the first year, but I think that if someone gets hit with a fine a couple times, they'll stop having their parties, and they'll come to our amazing 4th of July. Amazing. They were dancing at our 4th of July parade and the Fun Fest. So come to the 4th of July Fun Fest. It's free. It's amazing fireworks, amazing. We had 3 bands. They were awesome. So I'm hoping to get the support of my colleagues on that. Thank you.
Councilmember Marquez.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. Well, it's good to be back. We were never really gone. We did work, like the city manager said. We were at the office. We just didn't have council meetings. I generally don't bring up names in my comments, but I'm going to bring up a name today. Mr. Palomera, Robert Palomera, you come up here and you talk things that, if somebody told you I was black, you would believe them. If they told you that I lived in Rancho Cucamonga, you probably believe them. I'm going to ask the fire chief and the police chief a question. Fire Chief Ahmad, did I interfere in any way when I was at that fire?
No, sir.
Do you know why I was there?
Yes, you were in the middle of a police ride-along when the fire started.
Thank you. Police Chief, was I there legally in your...
Yes, sir. You were riding along with one of our staff.
That was Lieutenant Kohler, correct?
Was, sir.
And then when he came to my residence to pick me up for a ride-along, we got the call about a pursuit. And I was in that vehicle during the pursuit, correct?
That's correct.
Was there anybody complaining that I was interfering in anything at the scene of the fire or pursuit?
No, sir.
So you see, this individual gets up here and he has no idea what he's talking. For some reason, he dislikes me. That's fine. I mean, he can get up here and say whatever he wants to say, but I'm gonna call him out on it. I was out there to see how our public safety works. During my vacation, I rode with the assistant battalion chief on a ride-along. And I do it with the police department, and I'll do it again. I'll never interfere in their daily business. So I just want to squash those comments that I was out there interfering. Second of all, Ms. Palomero, you have a hate for me and my family. I understand that. But you know what? Just keep your comments to yourself. I might be up here unprofessional right now, but you know what? I'm a human being like anybody else out here. So I ask from now on, have your family keep your comments to yourself. But, I can't stop you. On a good note, I had my meet and greet luncheon a couple of weeks ago. I had about 40 people come out. It was awesome. I had a lot of residents in other districts come out. A lot of questions were asked, and I want to thank the city clerk for being there with me. She helped me set it up. The staff, it was nice. I had a good time. And I had a special guest come out to honor to meet me. And a lot of people know Nelson Chung. Nice guy. Came out and he wanted to meet me, and he was there also. And we had long conversations. But I had a lot of conversations with the residents that were there. And I'll tell you, that's got to be a highlight of anybody's council, being on the council, meeting with residents that you can help and be appreciated. And I want to thank everyone that was there present that day. Other than that, hockey season and football season is coming up, so it'll be nice to go out to these games again. And with that, good night.
Thank you. We have Councilmember Cabrera.
Thank you, Mayor. And first of all, I just want to welcome everyone back from the summer. Hope it was a good one for everyone. I see a few tan faces, so that tells me you did have a good one. But a few things, I'll go pretty quickly because there's a lot. First, I want to talk about road repairs that are going on right now. Public Works, like Tom Jarrell mentioned earlier, you guys are doing an amazing job, not only with potholes, but also organizing and planning our road repairs for the next several years and making sure that we leverage all of our funding from all sources to fix as much as we possibly can. So we are currently doing road repairs starting this month all the way through about December. So you're going to see a lot of action around the city. So just, bear with us. I know it can be kind of a nuisance sometimes, but it's for the greater good. We need road repairs ASAP, and so we're working on that. And I want to say thank you to Public Works for being on top of that. Also, the San Juan Bautista de Anza Trail that runs through the city. Actually, it connects all the way down to Menifee or somewhere, on a grander scale. We did receive that grant funding earlier this year, so I believe it's the beginning of next year that we actually start the completion of that trail from, it goes all the way through my district, all the way up to Rancho Verde High School. So just wanted to mention that and throw that out there. It's going to add a lot to the aesthetic of the city. It's going to make it look a lot cleaner. There won't be as many empty lots with overgrown weeds and all of that. So this kind of goes in line with our vision of cleaning up the city. Next, I want to talk a little bit about public safety. We allocated funding earlier this year to add 4 community service officers, which is a really big deal, and I just want to make sure that people know about that. We're looking at, hopefully at the beginning of next year sometime, to have those boots on the ground here in our city patrolling our streets, and I'm hoping that that'll help decrease response times and really help to fortify that relationship between the public and our police department that right now on a national scale is not doing so well. So we as public officials, as public servants, need to try to mend that relationship, and this is part of that. So I just wanted to make sure that everyone knows that we have more troops coming here. We have more officers coming here, boots on the ground to our city to patrol our city. Just last week, Sheriff Bianco organized a big operation here, which resulted in about 157 arrests for various things, but a lot of people actually saw that, the heavy presence of patrol vehicles here in our city, and a lot of people are grateful for that, especially, I think my colleagues up here as well. I called the sheriff, I left a message, I told him thank you, thank you for doing that, because that's outside of the box thinking and that fresh perspective that we need so drastically here. The simulation was amazing, definitely helped to understand the perspective from our police officers, knowing what weapon to use, what to say, and you literally just have a few seconds in a lot of these situations. You have to decide, you have to know what you're gonna do, because you can literally lose your life just like that. So that definitely helped, and I recommend if you have the opportunity to go do that. Firework Task Force, it's funny because it's something we've been talking about, and I'll support you 100%. Hopefully we can keep talking about that. Kawhi Leonard, the new Clipper basketball player, was in town today. He gave away backpacks to students in Moreno Valley Unified School District. Kenyon Barner football camp was during the summer, and he does that every single year. And actually, Councilmember Marquez was there and a few school board members, and he's a 3-time Super Bowl champion. So he's an asset, and he's a true leader. Last 3 things here real quick. Moving forward, I definitely want to make sure we look at the mailbox theft issue in greater detail, because it's still something that's affecting our city, and I definitely want to see how we can resolve that, at least try to decrease the problem of mailbox theft here in Moreno Valley. Second to last, a new library is coming to Moreno Valley pretty soon, to the south side of the city, over around Iris or somewhere on that side. So look forward to that. And last but not least, the general plan update. Really looking forward to that as well. I've been talking about it for a while. I love to look at the big picture and see where do we want this city to head in terms of development and construction and infrastructure. What kind of businesses do we want here, and what do we want Moreno Valley to be 20, 30 years from now, with the Olympics coming in 28, the World Cup coming in 24, the Super Bowl coming in, I think it's 22 or 24. So a lot of things happening, and I just wanted to mention that, it's a lot of things to look forward to. A lot of things to look forward to, and it's exciting. So glad to be back.
Thank you. We have Mayor Pro Tem Baca.
Thank you, Mayor. First of all, I want to make sure that everyone in this room and everyone listening at home has their tickets for the State of the City, which is usually a sold-out event. It's this Thursday at 11:30. If you haven't purchased your ticket, please go online and get it and be here. We're going to have a wonderful event presented by our very own mayor, Dr. Exton Gutierrez, who does a fabulous job in presenting all the good things that are happening here in Moreno Valley. The 4th of July event, to me, 4th of July is my favorite holiday because it's just so family-oriented. but we don't have that stress of buying presents, of dressing up, but it's family, lots of candy. It's Halloween in July, and we have concerts in the park. This year, thank you to Parks and Community Services for picking the bands, because we had so many people up there on the grass dancing to the band that we had. It was beautiful. And the concerts in the park and the movie, I went to, I think, 4 out of 5, and they were really, really good. The first one, Stone Soul, I love them. This is the 3rd time I've seen them. I'm not a groupie, but I do go watch them play. I really love them. So I want to congratulate the winners of all the awards for the 4th of July, and thank you to all our staff, because you don't see this as a community, but the effort put into bringing in the parade, the vendors, the concerts, the food, the beer garden. There's just so much that goes on the 4th of July, and I just enjoy it. We're at City Hall about 7:30 in the morning, and we don't get home till after 10 o'clock because the fireworks show is at 9 o'clock p.m. But it's a beautiful event, and I encourage everyone to come out next year. The Joint Task Force, today we had a lot of things going on there, reported by Councilmember Cabrera. But what I would like to say is that it's just so heartfelt and so sad that we closed our meeting in memory of CHP Officer Andre Moyer, because it just, I think we have to do it all the time, because it's just so sad for us and our community, and we really lost a good community member. Coming up in September, we have the welcoming of our students of our very own Moreno Valley College. Please be there, come out and support the students. It's a really great event. September 15th, the city sponsored in conjunction with the Hispanic Chamber of Commerce, we have El Grito on September 15th from 4 o'clock to 9 p.m. It's a Sunday night, but El Grito is just like 4th of July. It's always held on the same day, 4th of July and September 15th. So please come out. If you want to be a vendor, there's applications there. Come out and have a good time. And feel free to dress in your Mexican costume. I'm encouraging our very own Councilmember Cabrera to come dress as a charro. So let's see if he does it. But let's get our clothes and show up and support our students, because the first time, I'm not sure who the dancers were, but last time we had all the performers were our very own Moreno Valley Unified School District students. So come out and support them. They're fantastic. They're professional and they're very young, and we had great singers as well. And we'll have a simulcast from Mexico City at 9 p.m. At our Public Safety Subcommittee that we attended today with Dr. Thornton as my fellow representative, we did talk about things that are happening in our city and what we are looking forward to. She already reported that. But I just want the community to know that that's where the thought and the idea of adding the CSOs comes in. That's where we make the decisions for public safety. And we had a report from our animal shelter, Animal Services, and that's a department that I treasure and I respect so much. And Steve Freeze, as a director, he does an absolutely phenomenal job. I was at the animal shelter on Saturday because I had to bring some pets that were adopted by me for license and rabies shots and certifications. And there was a lady there with her bunny called Fluffy. And he came in, and he didn't have to do this, but he came in and said, "Hey, do you have a cage for this animal?" And he took her next door, and I could see it. It was a brand new rabbit cage. And she would have taken it, except she lived in an apartment. And that cage was huge, so she couldn't keep it. But that's the kind of things that our director does. He goes over and above the call of duty. And if it wasn't for him, my dog probably would be dead. That's how I feel. In District 1, we have a lot of exciting things happening. I don't want to brag, but it's a capital of the city. We have Floor and Decor coming in. We have the skate park, and pretty soon we'll have an amphitheater and the quarter project on Eucalyptus and Day. That's all I have to report, even though there's a lot more going on, but I'm 11 minutes over. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Just want to mention that that day was Monday when I found out that there was a CHP shooting. It was very, very sad about that. But I was even sadder when I found out that It was Andre because I actually went to school with him in 6th grade, 7th grade, and 8th grade, and we played. I played the saxophone, he played the clarinet, and so we played together for those 3 years, and then he went off to Valley View High School and also played there as well. So please, keep his friends, family, and everyone in prayers. He was laid to rest today, and it's just awful, what happened. And, he was a longtime Moreno Valley resident, went to Ridgecrest Elementary, Landmark Middle School, Valley View. I mean, that's what we like to see in our children, right, is that they grow up and then they work in our community and they're still part of our community. So he really was. So it's very sad, unfortunate what happened. I do want to mention there were many things that happened during the summer. A lot of things, in fact, even though we didn't have any council meetings. I did have a business roundtable, citywide mayor business roundtable, where we invited business members of the community to hear their concerns. I also held a meet and greet event as well with residents. Both events were very well attended. And the 4th of July. The 4th of July was just fantastic. We had thousands of folks that were actually there, live bands like Councilmember Dr. Thornton mentioned. But we also had a very special guest that was there, and that was our sister city. So a lot of folks don't know, but Moreno Valley has a sister city, and it's called San Juan de los Lagos in Mexico. And they actually came, and so it was really nice for us to give them a tour of the community and to really exchange ideas about what they're doing and what we're doing to better both our communities. Right now, we are in current talks of developing a student exchange program as well. I've been in communication with both school districts and also the mayor of San Juan de los Lagos, and we're really working together to try to get this going so that way this next summer we can have a cultural exchange for our kids. So I think that's a really great thing, and I want to thank the staff, especially your office, the city clerk's office, for organizing the Sister City delegation event. You guys did a great job there, and they learned a lot. And we also got to tour, by the way, Karma Automotive, and they were just amazed that we have an actual auto manufacturing plant here in the city of Moreno Valley, and it's their only one. Karma Automotive is right here in Moreno Valley. I want to also mention that there is something known as the Harvard Bloomberg Initiative. This is an organization that really looks at educating mayors and city leaders to really think outside the box and be innovative. And the city of Moreno Valley was actually chosen. Only 30 mayors or 30 cities were chosen from Warsaw, Poland, to Chicago, San Francisco, very large cities, and then little Moreno Valley. But you know what? We were there. So it was great to be there. And I know that even today we have our economic development director, also our assistant city manager. They're actually in New York right now participating in the Harvard Bloomberg Initiative. And it's no cost to the city. This is something that Michael Bloomberg, the former mayor of New York, started. And it's really to look at, how is it that we can be more innovative, think outside the box. And they're actually going to help us with a lot of different things, from interns to helping us develop data-driven decision-making, to the What Works City initiative, and also to making us a global city where we actually provide education, cultural education to children. So that's something I've also been working with both school districts and trying to make us a global city through the Bloomberg initiative. I've also been preparing for the State of the City as well, which is going to be scheduled this Thursday at 11:30 a.m. And if you haven't had the chance, please stop on by. I will be talking about the great things that our city has already been doing, and also what we're going to be doing in the next coming year as well. This Saturday, I'm really excited. It's actually the opening reception for Moval Learns Mayor's Challenge. So this is an initiative that was developed because a lot of times students, unfortunately, they have to choose work over school. Well, this is a program that actually allows them to do both. So they can actually earn, that means go to work, while they're learning. And so it's a great initiative where we're actually helping pay students to go to college, but they have to maintain good grades at Moreno Valley College. So we're having the opening reception. We got the students already. It was a very competitive process. They applied, and they're going to be receiving those stipends throughout the year. So this is an out-of-the-box idea where the city is being proactive, because unfortunately our college rate in the community is only 11%. So we have to increase that. We have to do something about that. So that's why we're thinking of these programs like Moval Learns, the Promise Initiative, and those kinds of things. I also will be participating, if you don't know already, but I'll be participating in Operation Smile. So they're going to be having a fundraiser. I was born with a cleft lip and palate, so this Sunday we're going to be doing a fundraiser with LAFC and also LA Galaxy. So if you want to watch any soccer games, I'm going to be part of that group that's going to be there. They're going to actually be doing surgeries there while they're doing the game. And the majority of the funds on that Sunday will be going to Operation Smile. So keep that in mind. And we'll go ahead and adjourn this meeting in memory of Andre Moye, a friend, a member of our community, longtime resident, and a fallen hero. You adjourn this meeting at 8:17.